Michael Vandergrift, MCV Realty, the real estate professor, covering 20 years of inventory and sales data. A lot of times in real estate as a realtor and helping people list their homes and make a move, when they're selling and buying, typically you're going to be contingent on selling that home. And that's always a concern. One of the things I always have to tell people, it's against common logic that you need to list your home first, which you do. You want to be in control. You want to make the buyer aware that you need to find suitable housing. Well, right now, the NAR just came out with, and I just read an article in the Wall Street Journal the other day, that we are now nationally at the lowest inventory in history in the real estate market. And we've been like that in Fort Wayne for months now. I mean, ridiculously low. I think this morning it was about 290 homes. We sell about 6,000 a year in just the Fort Wayne market. So that's way less than 1 month inventory, under half of that. And anything under 3 months inventory is considered a seller's market. 6 months of inventory is usually a balanced market. So I wanted to cover the last 20 years of sales data. And you'll see my notes here. And focus in. And welcome my intern, Zachary Malowski. There's my notes from all this data. And you can see I went through every year from 1999 to 2019. And calculated the data for the IRMLS, Indiana Regional Multiple Listing Service, which is the listing service they do. It covers pretty much Indiana. There's some quirks in it. Some areas aren't exactly covered. So for the most part, this is covering Indiana, focus on northern Indiana in the data set. And I'm just going to point out some things. Like we look at 1999, and I'm going to put in red the big things. Normally, like let's take an instance. Let's do 1999 right here. We look and we see the blue are sold homes. So we see July was the highest month in sold homes. We see listings that went from 10,000 listings up to just under 14,000. The most active listings on the market or all listings on the market were in November. Most homes sold were July, but not by much, as you see. And typically, almost every year, I haven't found an anomaly yet. January and February are the lowest months on homes sold. But it's not really that significant. And I know nationally on the numbers, June, July, August are the highest months almost always for highest home sales, but it's never more than 50% from any other time off. And you'll see that there's just not. And I'll point out the significant ones. You can look, here's 2000, same thing. They're all about the same. So the bigger thing is the market in the whole and how many are listed. So in 1999, we had anywhere from 10,000 to 14,000 listings. July was the highest home sold. November had the most listings. Nothing really significant in there except the amount of homes. In 2000, we jumped up to anywhere from, and I've got these numbers down here in my notes too, we jumped up from anywhere from 14,000 to 21,000 homes listed. The number one month was June. November had the most listings. Number one month sold was June. So we're hitting that June mark again in that summer and that whole spring mentality. But you got to keep in mind, make the move when it's ready for you. You know, like I preach, my new slogan is a realtor who's ready when you are. You know, and that's what I focus on. And then we have 2001. July and August were just, I took a ruler out on these to make sure because these numbers are just so close. July and August were just almost tied, but they weren't much more than May, and April, and you see March wasn't much off. September dropped a little bit, which usually does. When school starts, people get busy, and a lot of times people do move for school systems, and I understand that whole summer thing. That's one of those things that, I can totally understand. And November had the most listings in 2001. Then we move on to 2002. July was the most homes sold. November again was the most listings. 2003, we really jumped up, and I forgot to show that jump in the home sales. See, look at 2002, we jumped up to 30,000 listings on the market to right about 37,000, almost 40,000 You know, so there's a lot more homes and buildings on the market. Then 2003, we jump up again, almost 40,000 to 45, 46,000. November, once again, was the most listings on the market. July barely edged it out. I mean, it was just, you see, homes sold July. One again. 2004, we were about 43,000 listings. You see, we dropped right here after May on the listings on the market because June was significant. I mean, look at that jump there. June really jumped on homes sold in June of 2004. So we go to 2005. Looks like we're still at about 40-some thousand homes, somewhere in between 40 and 47, 48. August was most homes sold, but it wasn't significant. I mean, March through October, you can look and see there's really not a huge significance there. October had the most listings, but it was a close with September through November. We go on to 2006. And in 2006 on the listings, February was a close second to October. See, there's a little dip here when all these homes sold. March was the most homes. And almost significance here, but not huge. But it was, you see, it was quite a bit more than the other ones. Then we go on to 2007. Okay. And 2007, most listings were in August. Most homes sold, and just barely was May, not significant in 07. And then we go on to 2008. 2008, it was too close to call between May and July on homes sold, but you see it was consistent. March through October is pretty close. Most listings was right in here between September and October. I really couldn't distinguish by the data I have, which this data source is. It shows. I actually created this data back on August 20th, and I've been computing it and going through it, and I sat down the other day. I spent about 3 hours quadruple checking all this data, and you can see source was Indiana Regional MLS. And it quotes, information provided is deemed reliable but not guaranteed. But it is close. I've checked it with it, and residential matches right with the pattern we're looking and showing here. Now we go to 2009. Here we're looking at, we've got about 50,000 homes on the market still. We show June is the most listings on the market. It looks like it spiked up to right about there, and then dropped off with September being the most homes sold. And that's pretty significant. It's about double every other month. So September of 09, you know, that's coming out of the recession. Maybe that was the breaking point from the housing crisis. Because you can see when we got 50,000 homes, is when we get back to current, we're back down under 15,000. So 50,000 is a lot of listings be on the market. And we saw that jump back in 2006, I believe. 2005, 2006. 2005, it started to really jump up. Even 04 was showing 40,000 on there, and 03. So, but we all know the Great Recession and the housing crisis from it. Now we get to 2010. Okay, August was the most listings, and most sold was actually November. Not a huge difference, not really significant over anything. Second behind it was April, but November was most homes sold. Here we go, we get to 2011. And this is where we really started to come out and housing values started to come back up, is about 2011. They started to recover from the housing crisis from the Great Recession. And we see here that August was the most homes sold, and it was a close call with all these. And July was the peak of the listings. Then we go on to 2012. 2012, we're still sitting in the 40,000 plus inventory levels. And July seemed to be most homes sold and most listings in 2012. But you can see consistently homes sell all year long and houses are listed all year long. Here we go. We get to 2013. And 2013, Most listings were in July on the market, and May was the most homes sold, but it wasn't really significant. You can see they're pretty much housing sales are putting along. Then we go to 2014. 2014, most listings were in March. Most homes sold were April, and pretty significant. You can see quite a jump from all the other months. But we also see that same trend line pattern of they sell all year round. So it's pretty much ready when you are. And here we go, 2015. We started to really jump down. I forgot to point out that on 2014. I'm going to point to the significance we finally broke. We broke a little in the 2013 of the 40,000. You see now here in 2014, we're settling down under 30,000 properties. Once again, listings were March. Most homes sold significant were April. 2015, most listings were right about August. And you see we're getting under that 25,000 mark. Even at the highest, we're under 25,000 listings. A close call between May and August on most homes sold, and not far off from April, or June, July, and April. And even September. They're just like a straight line, pretty consistent. And then we go to 2016. 2016, see, we started to jump down. We're just over 20,000 at the highest listings, which was in August. June barely won out for homes sold. Then we go on to 2017. And we have, you see, we're dipping under 20,000 now, finally in inventory. Somewhere right between August and September, right at the end, was the most listings on the market. May won out, close call here, but May did win out on homes sold for that year. And then we get to 2018. 2018, we started to get down around 15,000, probably at about 17,000 here at the peak in September of 2018. And May barely won out on most homes sold. See, it's pretty consistent. And it kind of does a little thing, but yeah, we always know. I haven't found an anomaly for January and February are the slowest months for homes sold, but they still are done. You know, even during the Great Recession, everybody's like, couldn't sell. Yeah, you could sell a house. It's just a lot slower market, and there were a lot more inventory, so it was definitely a huge buyer's market in 06, 07, that time, 08. Then we get to 2019, which is last year's data, and you can see where we got under 15,000, probably peaked right here, just above 15,000 in October of 2019. And most homes sold were in May. But you see, it's not significant. It's a close call there. So this is my notes on that. So this is my analysis, and this is of 20 years of housing data. And this is why I always tell people, you know, make a move when it's ready when it's a right time for you. You know, and there's a lot of different reasons people make moves. You know, I'm going to cover a video on that. A lot of times it's job relocation, relationships change, and things like that, but I'm going to cover another video. So thank you for watching. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe.